All right, everybody, we're here at the mall. I want you to be very, very careful because Imperial agents are everywhere. They're everywhere. It could be anybody. Hey guys, Paul Harrell's nephew here. Once again, seated upon the bench of truth at the picnic table of wisdom. Yeah, wisdom. Guys, I want to talk about Kimber. You may have heard me mention Kimber in some recent videos. I reviewed a Kimber Micro 9. I reviewed a Kimber Eclipse 2. It's a custom Eclipse 2, Eclipse Custom. Anyway, it's the full size, like stainless 1911. All steel government model. I reviewed both of those recently, and I kind of expressed, you may have heard me express some contempt for Kimber in those videos, or some surprise. Hey, we didn't have any trouble with these, but if you buy one, make sure you test it. All right. So some of you may wonder what all that is about. A lot of you will already know Kimber doesn't exactly have the best reputation for quality control. They don't have the best reputation for customer service. If we go back to the 90s, Kimber was sort of new to the 1911 game. They came out with these, what had the reputation of being really good products, really good pistols for the money. They were, in some cases, a little bit more than a Springfield or a Colt, a little bit more money, but you got a lot more pistol. They had lots of features that people wanted. They were considered very high quality, and people were really happy with them. And as the years wore on, Kimber lost some of that reputation. I started hearing about 2010 or 11 that people were not happy with new Kimbers. And not only were they having a lot of difficulty with Kimbers, but when they contacted the company for service, the company was not very helpful in customer service. So quality had slipped, and also customer service. What I hear around online forums now is 2005-ish, sort of 2004, 2005, 2006, somewhere in there. That's about where Kimber kind of went off the rails and they started really having quality control problems. I don't know if that's true, but as I said, I started hearing from people online that I knew who had bought brand new Kimbers around 2010, lots of horror stories. And I started hearing stories in gun shops of people returning Kimbers. They were unhappy with them. And gun shop employees, they see a lot of these guns go out, and they see a lot of people come back, and they get feedback, and they hear about whether people are happy or not. And a lot of people these last 10 or 15 years have been unhappy with their new Kimbers. Kimber has a reputation, among other things, for shipping 1911s. They have barrels that are in the white, and I don't know if they're stainless or not, but they aren't given any kind of finish. And they're rather prone to rust, and some stainless steels will rust. They ship these, and apparently they don't put any kind of oil on them or lubricant, what have you. Anyway, they're shipping these pistols without any kind of oil on the barrels. And of course, these might sit in a display case for months or even a couple of years before they get sold, or sit in a vault or in a safe or in the back room of a gun shop in a plastic box, the factory case in which the pistol was shipped. And as they sit there, especially depending on where you are in the country, if you're in Louisiana or Florida, it's very humid, that pistol might start to get some rust on it. So you get people who buy a brand new Kimber, they try to buy one, and they discover, hey, this pistol, when I retract the slide, it's got rust on the barrel, or the barrel and the slide have rusted together and they're fused, and I can't even retract the slide anymore. Or perhaps more commonly, the gun's okay when it leaves the gun shop, but the customer takes it home, he puts it in his safe at home, and maybe it's a few months or a year before he actually takes that thing to the range. He sticks it in the safe, he's like, oh, next time I go to the range, I'll shoot that, but for whatever reason, he doesn't make it to the range for a while, he doesn't take that pistol for a while. And then he gets real excited, oh yeah, I'm finally gonna go shoot my Kimber. And then he discovers that his barrel has rusted. And okay, the customer really should keep some oil on it, and he should prevent rust. But also, if Kimber is going to package these and send them out, and they understand this gun might sit for a few years in that plastic case before it gets fired, it really needs to have some kind of preservative oil on it, or grease or something. And they don't seem to be good about doing that. And when people contact them and say, hey, I bought this brand new, very expensive pistol, a lot of these are $1,000 or $1,500. They're not inexpensive. What Kimber is telling them is, well, that's your problem. If you can get an answer out of them at all, it's, well, we'll replace your barrel. You can send it back. You could pay us a few $100s. And that doesn't sit well with most people. And I understand that. I mean, I get Kimber's point of view, which is you shouldn't let your pistol rust. And I get the buyer's point of view, which is that a brand new pistol shouldn't have rust on it, and shouldn't have especially so much rust that it's not even functional. It can't operate as a pistol anymore. But lots of small parts breakage, or big parts breakage sometimes on a Kimber. Lots of dimensional quality control problems that keep them from functioning correctly. Lots of problems with Kimbers that keep them from working as they should. And the company has not been very responsive in fixing those problems for customers and taking care of their customers. That's their reputation. I have pretty much never had to use Kimber's customer service until just recently. The only Kimbers with which I had experience were made prior to 2006, and they've been great. I didn't have a single problem with them. The recent Eclipse 2 that I've been reviewing, which I still haven't gotten to the range, and while there's snow on the ground, I probably won't. So it might be another week or so before I get into the range. That particular pistol, so far seems great. I don't have any complaints about it, but of course I haven't taken it to the range yet. And that one was made in 2005. So again, it probably predates the current problems at Kimber. The Micro 9 that I reviewed recently is a more recently manufactured gun. Not a single problem out of it. I have been extremely pleased with that one. I would be proud to own that one, proud to carry it. But, even the guys at the store who provided it to me said, they said, hey, we would tell anybody who bought this one or who bought one like it, go to the range and test it thoroughly before you carry it, because Kimbers are not to be trusted until they're tested. I can tell you at one local gun shop, and this is a big gun shop, I'm not going to say the name of it, but they are very large and very well stocked. They have lots of employees. They have lots of guns in stock. They carry everything from, $150 Heritage Rough Rider revolvers up through multi-$1,000 Desert Eagles. They've got a color case hardened Desert Eagle on the wall. I can't remember, it's $7 or $8 grand. It's expensive. They've got, $4,000 SIG Spear rifles and FN Scars. They stock Daniel Defense rifles. They are thoroughly stocked. They stock the current production M1 carbines. They stock almost anything you can think of. Korth revolvers, they keep them in stock. It's not, come in and order one. If you want to come in and buy one, you got money in your hand, they probably have one. It may not be on display, it may be in the back. But I've been in there before when they had them available for sale. You could just walk in and buy one. So they have some fairly expensive stuff. And I know to some people, spending 5 or 10 grand or whatever is not a lot of money, but to most of us it is. So this is a well-stocked store. They sell lots and lots of guns. They have a huge wall, multiple walls of guns in the building. Sell mostly new stuff. And what they've told me about Kimber just recently, about a year ago, I was in there having a conversation about Kimber revolvers, and I've never tried a Kimber revolver. I don't know that much about them. But I was asking the guy behind the counter about them, and he said, yeah, they're okay. And I said, well, how many people come in asking to buy your okayest revolver for defense? And he said, no one. But I understood what he meant, which is that they sell those, and for the most part, they don't have any undue trouble with them, warranty returns and things. And he would probably put them more or less on par with a Ruger or a Colt or a Smith, maybe maybe a few more warranty returns and things than you would get with a Colt or Smith, but certainly not bad. He didn't consider them bad revolvers. He wouldn't try to steer people away from them. And in general, his feeling, we just recently, the other day, had a conversation about Kimber. I don't remember how it came up, but he said that, when people come in and they want to buy a Kimber, he's not necessarily trying to steer them away. If it's a product that Kimber has offered for at least 10 years, they generally feel okay about stocking it and about selling it. But if it's something that Kimber has introduced in the last 10 years, they will not keep it in stock. If it's the new Kimber product, you won't find it in their store. They'll be happy to order it for you if you want it. But anything that it doesn't have a long established proven track record from Kimber, they don't feel comfortable keeping in stock and selling because they've had so many quality control problems. out of the newer Kimbers, but an established model, one of the government models or something like that, full size 1911 that they've been making for 30 years, that's probably fine. So you make of that what you will. I don't know what's going on at Kimber. I don't know, maybe what I hear about their quality control is overblown. Maybe it's not even true, because I don't have a whole lot of experience with the newer Kimbers. The only one I've shot that I can remember is that Micro 9, and it's been great. It's fantastic. But when I hear from the guys at the gun shop, I hear from people online who've bought them and who've had huge problems with them. Hear from the guys at the gun shop who sell them frequently and have people coming back and they're unhappy. I have to listen to that. So if you're thinking about buying a Kimber, keep that in mind. They've recently moved out of New York and they moved down to Alabama. I don't know what that's going to do to quality control or customer service. I did call their customer service line just recently and ask about that Eclipse. I was curious about when it was made, and that's how I found out it was made in 2005. The guy I talked to on the phone, I didn't realize they were in Alabama. I didn't realize they'd moved until recently, but I looked up their customer service number and they're down in Alabama. And the guy who was on the phone sure didn't sound like he was from New York. He sounded like Alabama, and he was a heck of a nice guy. I enjoyed talking to him, and very friendly. If that's what their customer service is usually like, I'm giving it a big thumbs up, but I don't know. That's the only time I can ever remember contacting their customer service. I can just tell you that their reputation is not good. Maybe they're going to rebuild it now. Hope they do. They've had great products in the past. Every Kimber I've tried has been outstanding. Maybe I just got lucky. I don't know. But if you were thinking about Kimber, that's something to keep in mind. Guys, leave me comments. Tell me about your experiences with Kimber. Love to hear what you think. Make sure you like and subscribe. Keep your powder dry.